There's some places, some things you see that just seem to spring more from fantasy than reality. It might be a natural wonder like scenic waterfall or something as simple yet astonishing as spiders web in the morning dew. And there are places you go that you just think, I can't really be here. This isn't real. And Petra is one of those places. Petra is this city. It's expansive. It's a complex. It's a place that was carved out of the sandstone. You see all of the water that would have shaped this place coming down, as well as shaped it coming through the seek here, about a 3/4 mile long gorge. And the people would have survived off of the water. They're a desert people here in the Negev. And they used the water. They collected it. They used it for irrigation. They found a way to create this sort of oasis here. And the Nabateans living here just before Jesus and just 1st and 2nd century here. They had a good relationship with the Roman Empire. They found this way to create this fortress, impenetrable seemingly. There's the Treasury. Contrary to its name, it's not full of treasure. In fact, after this area was abandoned, almost forgotten, Bedouins would come in and they would shoot at the Treasury face. So you're not just seeing erosion, you're actually seeing people shooting down the face because they thought that there were treasures stored in the face of the Treasury. It's more just a tomb. Before the Nabateans came along, this whole area in Petra was inhabited by lots of different people, and the Edomites are one of those people. That's kind of the story we want to talk about today. Scholars believe that Petra is most associated with either Midian or Edom. We're not sure. Both of those nations are major players in the world of the Bible. And talking about this story here, they're both relatives to the Israelites, but Edom seems to be a good fit. The word Petra, of course, means rock, and then there's this area called Sela, and the Edomites, they were said to find their confidence in this rocky place where they lived. And you think about the kind of protection they had. I mean, just think about bringing an army through here. We came in through the back way this morning. They are secure, but they're not as secure as they think they are. There's a kind of pride that comes from self-confidence and your circumstances that God wants to bring low. And so to think about their relationship with Israel, it goes back, well, a long time, generations, to these two brothers, Israel, Judah. They come from Jacob, and Edom comes from Esau. And these two brothers had this rivalry that lasted almost their whole lives, but they came to peace. But the kind of conflict they had, it ruined their families. And so generations later, the two nations, Israel coming from Jacob, and then Edom coming from Esau, they just constantly fought, never came to peace. And so the sins of the fathers had done its work. And so when the Jews were taken into captivity by the Babylonians, the Edomites just stood there watching, sort of rubbing their hands gleefully, excited to see their brothers suffer for their sins. And God hated that. So he sent a prophet named Obediah, and Obadiah told them what God felt about it. He talked about their confidence in a place like this. In Obadiah verse 2, he sent Obadiah to say this: "Behold, I will make you small among the nations. You shall be utterly despised. The pride of your heart has deceived you, you who live in the clefts of the rock," and that's that word Selah, "in your lofty dwelling, who say in your heart, who will bring me down to the ground? Though you soar aloft like the eagle, though your nest is set among the stars, from there I will bring you down, declares the Lord." See, they lived in this mountainous area. Whether they actually lived in Petra or not, scholars debate. But they certainly lived in an area like this, and around this area, they controlled the whole Negev. And they felt this confidence. Their circumstances made them feel secure. They thought no one can take them down. But God had to come down to them to bring them further down. God hates that kind of pride. And what he says to them in the end is that the kingdom shall be the Lord's. It's a lesson I think we should take to heart today. The kind of confidence, the kind of trust that we have. We've got to put our trust in something. And God wants us to be humble enough. This default humility we have before him, we keep him in the room. We remember that he's our rock, that he's our fortress. That's a lesson worth remembering. Nabateans were really intentional about making the most of the resources through here. So they've built these channels each rainy season. They have found a way to store all this treasured resource. In fact, the Nabateans would sell water to neighbors around them. But one of the most interesting things about Petra, of course, are all these cutouts. Sandstone. So they would chip away and build these, what look like initially dwellings. They're not. You wouldn't live in these. These are tombs. They wouldn't close them in. It's kind of different. It's just different. I would think they'd want to seal the tomb to protect the body, but instead they'd leave it out in the open. And then they would come in below with their family and friends, grieve together for 30 days. In fact, not far from here is Jabal Haran. It's Mount Hor, where Aaron is traditionally known to be buried. And they mourned him for 30 days. So it's kind of a tradition, but nothing is contained. Everything's out in the open, and they sort of let nature take care of things. But the dwellings aren't here. The dwellings are actually, fascinatingly, underground. So there are all these caves through this system, and they would live beneath, keep cool during the day, capture their water, and live in this oasis. These tombs are, as beautiful as they are for the more common people. But in Petra itself, obviously the Nabateans had royalty. And it's supposed, not sure, scholars go back and forth on this, but the royalty would have been buried here in what are some of the most majestic places here. This is the royal tomb. Obviously more ornate, a lot more work involved. And this one's carved directly out of the sandstone. There's some other places where it's not just carved out of the sandstone, they actually would have carved pieces of sandstone and placed it up as a facade. There's just a lot of importance on remembering your loved ones. The Bible talks about people being gathered to their people. Hello, how are you? We're on a shoot today. We're capturing some film.
Come and take some pieces of falafel.
What are you drinking?
Tea.
Tea.
Bedouin tea.
This is for you. We have a sandwich, we have falafel. Come.
Shukran.
Afwan.
Shukran. I smell mint.
No, sage.
Sage. You
Yep.
drink sage.
Mm-hmm.
This is falafel.
Falafel.
It's very good.
Shiahana.
You can't do this to everybody who comes along.
Of course.
You wouldn't have anything left to eat.
Yes. I have a lot of tuna and hummus, don't worry. We respect our guest plan, For us here in our Muslim country, exactly the Bedouin people here, we say, welcome, eat. Welcome, eat.
Yes.
So when I eat, I have to invite you. We don't look, for example, for money or for something like that. No, we look for, most of the people to come happy. Because you can visit us for first time, so.
Treat people like family.
Yeah.
Family is a pretty big thing here.
Of course, yeah.
We were talking about the tombs and just the way, you know how the tombs, you have the room underneath where people would have visited with family and then buried the loved one above. Do you have special remembrances for family who die here? How do you handle death and the death of a loved one?
If someone die, we hold it, we carry, we put it in the mosque, we
Right.
pray,
Okay.
and then we go someplace, we put all the people who died there, and make a tomb, and then we cover it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, death is just such a, it touches everybody.
Yeah.
It touches everything.
Yeah.
Every culture has a different way of
Yeah. Of
thinking
course,
through it and processing it and not letting it destroy you. But it's 10 out of 10 people die.
Yeah, that's the truth.
So it's just, I don't know. I would think living in a place like this surrounded by the tombs would
Maybe
keep you in touch with that.
Maybe you hear about that. Actually, it's still living inside Petra here until now, like 35 families.
Yeah.
still living in the cave.
35 families still
Yeah,
living
still
here in the
living
caves.
All of them do have a house in the village,
Right.
but you prefer the life here.
Yeah. And you get to meet fun people.
Of course, the people, you like to support the people. They have a time to talk. They have a time to make fun.
Remind me of your name.
Ahmed.
Ahmed.
Yes.
I'm Justin.
Nice to meet
Thank you so much. Thank you for the tea and the
welcome.
falafel.
You're welcome.
Tell your friends who made it. Thank you.
Your second home.
All right. God bless.
And if you have free time, if you want to come back, we'll drink a couple tea more. We are here.
And we'll talk scarves.
Why not?
Thank you, friend. Thank you. The beauty and grandeur of Petra is hard to describe. What is particularly striking is how the ancient Nabateans buried their dead here in this solemn ritual. Even more incredible is the picture of supreme security such a rocky fortress provided its people. But it was not a security that could be wholly trusted. Hundreds of years later, and hundreds of miles away, Jesus would teach about lasting security. In Matthew 7, everyone who hears his words and does them has his house, his life, built on the rock, built on the Petra. And whatever storms may come, the one who trusts in Jesus will stand. And in Matthew 16, the church that Jesus built on the solid rock, well, not even death itself should prevail against it.